Okay, so I'm going to call us to order. Good afternoon. This meeting of the Napa Valley College Board of Trustees is now called to order at 4:32 p.m. We welcome members of the public. Instructions on making public comment are posted in item 1 on the agenda. We will ask at each item if there is public comment, and all presenters should remain muted with their video off until it is time to make your presentation. Catherine, can you please do roll call?
Absolutely. Trustee Rios.
Here.
Trustee DeLuna.
Here.
Trustee Baldini. Trustee Goff.
Here.
Trustee Dodd.
Here.
Student Trustee Shull.
Here.
And Trustee Iverson, I believe, is coming in a bit late. And Trustee Baker.
Here. All right, so then move to 2.2, Pledge of Allegiance. And let's see, how about we have Trustee DeLuna? Would you like to lead us?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, then. So 2.3, we need to adopt our agenda. Are there any changes that we need to make or that anyone would like to propose?
Move is adopted.
All right, so we can go ahead actually and just adopt it by consensus if there are no changes.
Okay.
So agenda is now adopted by consensus. And now we are going to be moving into closed session. Before we go into closed session, we have public comment for closed session items. At this time, the board will devote a total of up to 15 minutes to hear comments regarding closed session agenda items. Individual comments will be limited to 3 minutes. I don't know that we have any that were sent in prior. And is there anyone who has comments? No?
I have heard of none.
Okay. At this time, the board then will move into closed session and will return at approximately 5:30 p.m. The items that we will be discussing in closed session are conference with real property negotiators and public employee evaluation. So we will be temporarily adjourning. We'll be back at 5:30.
Okay.
I'll see you all on the flip. If we can move that, would we want to move that entire section up or just that one item?
I think just the one item.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
So if we could go ahead and move that, can we go ahead and move that up just to right after did we officially say that we were back in session? We're back in session. We are back in session and there are no announcements from closed session.
Oh, okay.
We are entertaining a change to the agenda to accommodate one of our trustees who needs to leave early. So I had a motion from Trustee Iverson. I did not hear who made this second. Baldini did a second. So that would be to move item 2.1 to basically
10.1 to
5. Wait, 6 point. Should we do 6? Does it become 6?
Yeah.
Okay.
yes.
All right. And do we need to do a roll call for that?
Yes, you do.
Okay. So roll call for our motion to change the agenda. Trustee DeLuna.
Aye.
Trustee Dodd.
Aye.
Trustee Goff.
Aye.
Trustee Iverson.
Aye.
Trustee Rios.
Aye.
Trustee Baldini.
Aye.
Student Trustee Shull.
Aye.
And myself, Jennifer Baker, aye. So unanimously changing our agenda, adjusting the agenda so that we can take that item now. So now we are looking at a resolution to authorize the lease of certain real property located on the Upper Valley campus to the city of St. Helena for municipal purposes. And we have Bob Parker here to present on that. We also have our attorney, Aaron Stagg available to answer any questions. Bob, you want to take it away?
Absolutely. So thank you, Trustee Baker. So just to say that this resolution starts the process. This resolution, if you adopt this resolution tonight, you're authorizing us to lease property to the city of St. Helena. It triggers a 3 consecutive week notice period. So this resolution will be published in a local newspaper for 3 consecutive weeks to notice the public that this is happening. The final step in this process would happen at the next board meeting. And at the next board meeting, you will be asked to pass a resolution authorizing or instructing staff to actually enter into a final lease agreement. So this initial resolution indicates some general terms about the property that we are intending to lease. This is not authorization of the final lease agreement. That will happen at the, if you pass the resolution tonight, then the final lease agreement would be presented to you at the February board meeting for approval.
Okay. And we discussed this in closed session a couple of times already. So I think that all of our questions have been answered, but do we have any public comment on this? Nothing.
I do not see any.
Okay. And do we have any questions or anything before we go for a motion? I would take a motion.
Motion.
Who was that?
Michael.
Michael. Okay, so Trustee Baldini, motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Trustee Goff. All right. And then, all right, we're going to do our roll call. Trustee DeLuna.
Aye.
Trustee Dodd.
Yes.
Trustee Goff.
Aye.
Trustee Iverson.
Aye.
Trustee Rios.
Aye.
Trustee Baldini.
Aye.
Student Trustee Scholl.
Aye.
And myself, Trustee Baker, aye. So we have passed unanimously, which I know is a requirement, our resolution 2101.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we hope you feel better, Trustee DeLuna.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry I can't stay.
No worries. All right. So let me get myself back in order here.
Is there anything else that I should stay for, or
Nothing else that we needed to really do unanimously. So if you're not feeling well, please,
Okay.
by all means, take care of yourself.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure. All right. So we are now at just general public comment, correct?
Yes.
All right. Let me get myself. Oh, I changed my paper. Now I know why this happens. Well, okay, here we go. Okay, so we are now open for general public comment. This public comment opportunity is governed by the State of California Brown Act. By definition, this is an opportunity to hear concerns, perspectives, and differing vantage points. The board is not able under the Brown Act to engage in any level of conversation or discussion, but we look forward to this opportunity to gather community input. At this time, the Board of Trustees will devote up to 15 minutes to review comment to the Board of Trustees regarding any subject not appearing on an agenda item for this meeting, but over which the board has jurisdiction. The public may request that the board place an item related to the business of the district on a future board agenda. No action or discussion will occur at this time on such items. Each comment shall last no longer than 3 minutes. Do we have any public comment?
I do not see public comment.
All right, so we can close public comment and moving on to reports. Is Dr. Tejada with us this evening?
No, I do not see her present.
Okay. I do see Robert Harris for our Administrative Confidential Senate report, please.
Good evening, trustees and Trustee Baker. I do not have a formal administrative report, Senate report, since the last time the board met. We had only been in session for 8 days, but I do want to take a few moments, not long, to give some thoughts that several of our folks have been bringing forth about the state of our nation, our state, and our local region. Not to editorialize too much, but over the last 3 years, our particular college has lived through fires, smoke, more fires, go back 5-6 years, an earthquake, and then given the most recent political tumult that has gone on, it's been shaking, to say the least, and there's no pun intended regarding the earthquake. Yesterday, I was able to read a note that Dr. Tejada had forwarded to the faculty as academic senate president, and I think her sentiments captured it well. We as a college have a wonderful opportunity to provide leadership and to provide a sense of being and normalcy to our students, our faculty, and our staff. And the Administrative Confidential Senate continues to work toward that. We can only hope and pray that as we go down the road of the spring 21 semester, things will begin to normalize to whatever degree that is. But on behalf of the Admin Confidential Senate, we look forward to working with everybody in who's present and everybody who's not present to bring the college, the students, and everybody back to a sense of normalcy and moving forward to make the college experience once again more of an inclusive and more of a holistic and well-rounded experience rather than just online. So with that, no formal report, but I want to thank you for your time, and here we go. Spring 21 is 5 days away, I think. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think I can speak for all of us that we agree with that sentiment and are also looking forward to some hard work, but hopefully some really good payoff for it. So next up, we have Associated Students of Napa Valley College report. USB Menace is here.
Yes, hello. I apologize. I cannot turn on my camera at the moment because the room is really dim. So it wouldn't really help if I turned on the camera at all. But hi, Happy New Year to everyone. I hope everyone had a wonderful break. I don't really have much to report, but I can talk about the winter event. It was a great hit. Quite a few people showed up. We gave out everything we had, and overall it was just a success. We gave out t-shirts, some food. Of course, it was all closed. Everything was sealed, and we gave out school supplies. And one thing I did want to mention was that I want to plan another event that ASMBC does where they again give out school supplies. I spoke with Ben Quesada and two other students from ASMBC, and they actually want to do more than just an event. They want to be we use the example of the food bank, where it's kind of open all year long, where it just so happens mid-class you need another notebook. You could just go in, get another notebook, stuff like that. So I'm kind of still working my way around that, but it's an idea that I want to present and hopefully hit off this semester. At the moment, we are finishing our training, so we're a bit behind on that. We are going to have a retreat and kind of just go over everything again. We're working on our policies and our constitution, and that's about it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. And I have been advised that Classified Association Representative Valerie Mull is not here, but we have a report on her behalf from Mr. Shoemaker, please.
Yeah. How you guys doing? Good to see you. Happy happier new year. Okay, that's the terminology we're going to use. Okay, because it can't be as bad as last year.
Knock wood.
Okay. Yeah, Valerie just had about 4 bullet points and stuff, and we'd like to thank our Flex Day organizers for once again scheduling a classified union membership meeting on a Flex Day. We typically have very high participation when given this opportunity. Number 2, classified staff continue flexible work arrangement, the telecommuting necessitated by COVID-19 restrictions into the spring semester or until further notice. Number 3, there is no activity this month with the classified staff hiring, reclassification, separations, or assignments on the agenda this evening. And number 4, we're delighted to report the classified Senate and the classified union are joining forces to support the law enforcement torch run for Special Olympics in Northern California again. This allows Napa Valley College to be recognized on the back of the T-shirt. And this was, submitted by Valerie Mull, the Napa Valley College Union of Classified Professionals membership president. So, sweet.
Do you have any additional report from your own office, sir?
Our office, let me see, we really haven't had that much. We're working on some training. Kayla and Mariana were excited, because they're working with Christina and Charo to, look at different avenues to sit there and upgrade some skills for people and, continuing learning some new things, especially with all the cyber stuff we have to do. So I'm excited about that. And then we're also doing a modification for the food bank. We're putting some air conditioning so that when Ben gets the fresh produce, we can keep it a little longer and stuff, So that should be, that's in progress. We just core drilled this the wall and stuff, prepping that for next week. And then next week, just, from the campus side, we're getting ready to drop in with the power stations that, I guess we're going to be producing our own electricity here. So I think covers like 60% of our electrical needs. So that, makes us a little bit more self-sufficient. I think I'm kind of excited about some of the upgrades we're doing to the campus, and I thought I'd share that with you for Matt and me and the crew. So.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Do we have, I believe Christy Iwamoto is not with us. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So then we are on to President and Cabinet reports. Dr. Kraft.
Thank you. I'm just checking my stuff here. Hey, welcome to 2021. And we could not get here fast enough from our vantage point. And it felt like 2020 just had so many surprises. But we are all looking forward to this year. A couple of little shout outs here. And Bob did some, but I think in terms of the unseen, behind the scenes, work never really stops at the college. It's, we work 12 months. So, and Marty alluded to some of it, but, there's so much hard work that goes on by the police department and health services and mental health services, the food bank, there's students enrolling, IT, all of it, the office for Bob's office and and business office, and none of that really stops. And Matt Christensen is working on stuff, and we're working, continually. And I know you all know that, but it's really a shout out to staff and leaders and cabinet, and to all the folks who kind of weighed in. Faculty work quite hard over the break as well, either grading papers, before their finals and or right after their finals, and also in terms of kind of prep to get ready for pedagogy for a new semester. So, and I know you know that, and the board never stops as well. I mean, we have meetings. We're continuing to do our thing. So, congratulations to everybody for that. We had a couple things. We had a nice president staff meeting on Monday, which is all of the managers, and we covered and got kind of back together as a kickoff. I spoke on Lee Miller's show on KBON, talking about the college and our excitement about the new year, and that was a good hour that we spent. Thank you, Holly, for helping as PIO and doing some of that background. Also, we have several events coming up next week. Flex Day is a good one for you all to be thinking about, and we'll send some other things out for you there. Let me address, Trustee Baker and I talked about addressing some of Eileen Tejada's as the Academic Senate issues from last time. And I wanted to just not talk too long, but just really address a little bit about the process, and especially I think the president's area and our commitment to working with the Academic Senate. I mean, as you know, and the college has always operated this way as part of the shared governance process. Academic Senate weighs in so many important areas, and I want to ensure both Senate President Tejada and the board and our constituencies that we're committed to work forward on that. Part of the resolution that she read has some gaps, I think, in terms of the board's understanding. So I wanted to make sure that that during the hiring freeze really was a response to COVID, as it reared its ugly head in March. And then we received, as you remember, horrible news from the state chancellor's office, from all the fiscal pieces looked as if we were really going to be underwater with a lot of other folks. So I am excited to really talk about moving the college from a hiring freeze position to more essential personnel position. So we recognize really that we have to continue to fill those essential positions. Some of the faculty recruitment that's going on right now is we have a counselor instructor, we have an English comp, a culinary instructor, mathematics instructor, respiratory care, a librarian, another English comp instructor, chemistry instructor, hospitality, culinary. I might have missed somebody, and if so, Sarah can help me out on that as we go. But it's important to recognize, I think, and you certainly do, that the board and the president always are looking to the mission building capacity of the institution. So in my best opinion, and based on the facts that we knew, I felt a hiring freeze was definitely the right thing to do. It's also important to recognize, I think I just want to set the record straight, we did hire a full-time faculty member who had gone through the process and had gone to the second round of interviews. The other faculty member process had not yet gone to second round. So we felt like it was prudent and responsible. And as it turns out, here we are, because we're back with this same kind of position now. The other thing that I want to say, there's a couple other folks that we are moving toward. One is a senior accountant, and that is a classified position, extremely important. It's an existing position, and we're out for that. I think also we are, as you recall, I think focused in the right way. I'm going out for a senior director on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusivity. And we certainly discussed this. I think it's part of the chancellor's call to action, part of our responsibility. That's not a new position, and it's an existing position that is currently filled by an interim. Robert D'Arcangelo is doing a fine job, and it is part of our process to move through. So with that said, I think it's very important to understand that there are decisions that not always can please everybody. But know that the president and the board and the president's office highly respects all the input of the constituencies in the table. So with that, I think that's probably enough for tonight. I'm looking forward to meeting with the executive team of the Academic Senate for the next steps on policy review. And we'll have that invitation out to them either this week or next. I would like to just kind of round robin. Oscar could not be here tonight. He had two issues with his team and asked your forgiveness for that. And I think I'll just call on Sarah to see whether or not you have Vice President Sarah Parker, see whether you have something right now.
I do, yes. And I think it's being opened, so there's a little visual to go along. Good evening, trustees. Really nice to see you again. During my report here, I'm going to provide a snapshot of our spring schedule as it relates to the academic schedule. Spring semester as it relates to the academic schedule. So I'll speak to each of the columns that you see there. Starting first with our modality. We are offering in-person courses in the same disciplines that we did so in fall semester. The actual numbers of in-person courses scheduled are up slightly from fall by approximately 5%, and there are a couple of reasons for this. The first is that classroom caps had to be further reduced after we went to the purple tier and then beyond the purple tier. So we had to add sections to accommodate students at those lower class caps in order to ensure that they could continue to move through their academic programs. And additionally, the number of in-person classes reflects that we do have a set of late start classes that we hope will be able to run in April, but are prepared to run online if necessary. There's a little note at the bottom there that just reminds you that all of the courses that we're running in person have been carefully reviewed. For any additional information about campus protocols, we have a Safe Campus document. The remainder of our courses are online, and like in fall, there is an approximate even split between classes that have synchronously scheduled times and those that don't. Our spring enrollment, moving to the middle column now, is down from spring 2020. So when we look at enrollments from last year at the same time as compared to this year, enrollment is down about 14% in credit and about 15.5% overall. Per student unit load is up slightly. That's good news. And as I mentioned, we have this set of late start classes. A preliminary look at fall data suggests that these late start classes fill better than our full term classes. So it suggests to me that there's still a good possibility of positive growth in those numbers. And anecdotally, just this morning, I received the final fall numbers from a state report statewide, and our enrollment trends tracked very closely in the fall. I believe they're doing the same this spring. On the right-hand side is our tentative schedule build for summer and for fall. So we are going to continue to adjust and pivot as circumstances change and hopefully improve. But I do want you to know that we are basing our initial build of the fall 21 schedule off of our fall 19 schedule rather than the fall 20 schedule. And that gives you a sense that we remain cautiously optimistic. And then finally, there's this note at the bottom that is based on preliminary information. So this is not final numbers or completely conclusive. It's what I have now, But our overall college retention and success numbers for fall semester 20 look similar to fall 19. So this data will be formalized and finalized by Dr. Wormel and Dean Erickson, but I wanted to share this preliminary glance because I think it's really compelling evidence of the attention, the effort, and the dedication that faculty in their classrooms and everyone at the college collectively has contributed to supporting students. And we have just such an important role to play, and we've been able to maintain our level of education through this time. That's it.
Thank you, Sarah. Board, do you have any questions of Vice President Parker? Thank you. Thank you. Let me skip to Bob Parker and see whether you have something in this section, Bob.
I do. So I do have a few things to report on from administrative services. First of all, in the business office area, the big news recently has been budget news. The governor announced his proposal for the 2021-2022 budget last Friday, and it's kind of strange to say that no cuts are good news, but we were going into this budget cycle. There were serious concerns about what the budget would look like for 2021-2022, and in fact, not only are there no cuts, but, and the other thing, let me preface this by saying we're a community supported or basic aid district. So the majority of our funding comes from local sources, but about 17 to 18% of our budget is state funding for things like our categorical programs and other sources of state funds. So what happens at the state level is significant to us. And so there's a slight increase, 1.5% cost of living increase for CalWORKs, EOPS, and DSPS. So that would help those programs. There aren't any proposed cuts to any other areas. There are some line items that will assist our students, $100 million to address student basic needs like food and housing. $250 million in emergency financial assistance grants. So those are all things that will ultimately flow through to assist our students. Perhaps the best news for us, there are two pieces of good news. First of all, the proposal is to use some of the available funds to buy down $1.1 billion of the deferrals that were originally scheduled for this year. So that doesn't mean any additional funding for us, but it does help cash flow. It means that those deferrals, most of those deferrals will not take place if this gets adopted. The other good news for us is that there's a proposed use of some of the funds to buy down PERS and STRS rate increases. And so if that goes through, our STRS rate would remain relatively stable from the year that we're in now to next budget year. And our PERS rate would only increase 2%. It was proposed originally to increase 4%. So those two things are good news for us. So we'll be talking about this and sharing this in cabinet. We'll be sharing it with the Planning and Budget Committee at our next meeting, which is next Friday. And we'll be talking about this when our Audit and Finance Committee, which will be formed tonight, when we meet at hopefully sometime in early February prior to the next board meeting. Also, just to note that the college will be receiving some of the stimulus funds that were recently approved. We don't know the final dollar amount on that yet. We do know that, as with the CARES Act, there will be a certain percentage of those funds that will be earmarked to provide direct aid to students. So good news for the college, but also good news for our students. Moving on to facilities, and Marty touched on this in his report. If you have been on campus recently, you will notice that there's some construction happening by the tennis courts, and that's the installation of the Bloom energy system to generate lower cost and cleaner energy electricity for us. You approved that contract at the August board meeting, and so that work is actually taking place on campus now. And then finally, in institutional technology, we've discussed, and it's come up at board meetings within the past few months, the challenges in institutional technology, and two specific challenges that we've experienced. One that is significantly impacting students, but also impacts our faculty, and that's our challenges with our single sign-on system. The fact that the single sign-on system gets, I'll refer to it, not being a real technical person, but it's almost like a traffic jam that the more people are hitting it, it may take students 2, 3, 4 times to get through on that single sign-on. The other pain point for us in recent months has been faculty and staff email and the failure of our email server back during the fall semester. And so we had talked about the fact that the ultimate solution to those two issues is to move those two systems into the cloud. And so I'm happy to report that after speaking to a few different vendors who had been recommended to us for consulting services, because we knew that we needed to engage some outside help to address these two issues. And so we have identified a consultant, and in fact, the contracts are being presented to you for approval tonight. The company is Dine Tech Services Incorporated. They were recommended to us by other California community colleges. Their proposals were the most targeted and, quite frankly, the best pricing. But that's not the main reason that we selected them. We selected them for their approach and for the recommendations that we received. And so the two contracts that you're being presented with tonight, the first is for general consulting services, and that's really to address the single sign-on issues that we're experiencing. And then the second one is a targeted proposal to assist us with our Office 365 migration. And what that will mean to us is that faculty and staff email will move to Office 365, which moves it from our local server to a cloud-based system. And so moving single sign-on to the cloud, moving our email to the cloud will take us, alleviate our reliance on local servers and the challenges that presents. It will increase our capacity, and it will make those two systems more reliable. So I feel like I'm making a pitch to pass accept those two contracts, but you will be seeing them later in the agenda tonight. And
you just won't have to. We won't make you repeat yourself later.
There you go.
Madam Chair, I have a quick question.
Yes.
I just, Mr. Parker, I didn't know if I should ask when we do the consent calendar and ratify the financials, or I just had a question on the fund balance, and I didn't know if you wanted me to ask it now or.
I think you can ask it now. Yeah.
I was perusing our budget, and I've noticed that our expenses have been higher in revenues for the last 4 years, but our fund balance has increased too. So I was just looking for a little clarification on that.
Sure. So we'll be going through that when we do the presentation of the final audit report and the presentation of the annual 311 report, and that will happen at the February board meeting. We'll go through, there were some prior period adjustments, not unusual, prior period adjustments that increased the fund balance. And then we also added a little bit to the fund balance. Our revenues exceeded our expenditures in the last completed fiscal year, so fiscal year 1920. And so for both of those reasons, you see an increase in the fund balance between last year's final fund balance report and the fund balance, I should say, between the 18-19 fund balance report and the 19-20 final fund balance.
Okay. Thank you.
And I will also say that, just as a reminder, we had planned that expenditures to an extent would exceed revenues during the last 3 fiscal years, not 1920, but the 3 prior to that. And that was the use of the one-time funding that we received back in, I believe it was fiscal year 16. We allocated, you as a board allocated a certain percentage of that to cover increased PERS and STIRS contributions. And so we were spending, that was about $1.2 million, and we were spending that down over a 3-year period.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Any more questions for VP Parker? We're good on that one. Thank you, Bob. It's good. I think between and I'm going to call on Charo in just a second, and then we have another presentation. But I think what you're seeing, board, we had talked about it. We both have to look in the rear view mirror for many of our important data, and also forward looking as Sarah was talking about in trying to plan for the future. So not everything aligns completely perfectly, and that is in some of the the art and science of what we're talking about. So I'm excited that you're asking the questions, board. It really shows how engaged you are, and that's very professional boardsmanship, and I appreciate that very much. I want to jump to Associate Vice President Charles Alvarado to address some of the things from HR, training and development, and I think you are out there.
I am.
Good.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year and good evening. In Human Resources, we are busy working with our colleagues across campus in managing all of our COVID responses. Particularly in HR, we're paying close attention to the Families First Coronavirus Response Act, which expired December the 31st. In my conversations, and soon we'll have a conversation in cabinet, is our intent to extend this leave for our staff. We want to make sure that if we have any sick employees, we don't want them to feel like they have any choice but to come to work. We're encouraging our staff that if they do feel sick as a result of exposure or whatnot, for them to take advantage of their accrued leave in addition to this corona relief leave as well. Additionally, we are in our training and development. Hopefully you all have received a postcard that was sent out by my office reminding all of you to take advantage of our employee assistance program. In February, we'll be kicking off a series of trainings and workshops for employees to just take time out for themselves as we are managing this very difficult time. I too want to acknowledge that with the pandemic and most recently the activities in our American politics, it has been very difficult. And I know at this point I'm sounding like a broken record, but you know what? Sometimes you just have to be that broken record. I again ask all members of our community at Napa Valley College and beyond to please take care of yourselves. Turn off the news, take those deep breaths, and take care of yourselves. Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Char. Good, and don't we all need that? A good deep breath.
I would also echo definitely. I'm a huge fan of EAP. I wish more people took advantage of it. There's a lot of resources there that people don't even know are available. I mean, we were just discussing it in our house earlier this last weekend that we might want to contact somebody for some parenting help. So, and that's available and it's free for you. So please take advantage.
Wonderful. In fact, I received something just today from Redwood Credit Union that's got some new parenting videos and help pieces that they just finished. And maybe you've already seen those, but I'll be rolling those out through Charles' shop. Okay. Well, thank you. I think we've done the cabinet. We do have, I think, my great pleasure. We have a wonderful new executive director of the foundation, Jessica Thomason, and Kyle Iverson, Trustee Iverson, sits on this board as the current representative. So maybe between Chairwoman Baker and Trustee Iverson, you can do the kind of the intro of this piece, and then I think Jessica has a presentation for the board to bring you up to speed.
And the only thing I can say is that my grandmother was a Thomason. So, but from there, I will let Trustee Iverson take it over.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to getting Jessica in front of the board, and I'm really looking forward to her presentation today. Ignore the children in the background, they're in another room. But yes, Jessica is our new executive director, and she's been doing a lot of work with the foundation. And without further ado, Jessica, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Kyle. Hello, trustees. It's really nice to meet you. I wish it could be in person, but I'm really happy to be here. I'm Jessica Thomason, the new director at the Napa Valley College Foundation. I started here in this role, in the acting role, in about April, and then moved into my current role in July. And you know, the foundation does really amazing things. The scholarships they do for students, I didn't realize the extent of it. I'm from Sonoma, and I took a couple classes at the college. My mom was an elementary school teacher in Napa, but didn't really realize the impact of everything that is done here. So I'm really happy to work with all of you. You're obviously the face of the college. You're the ambassadors out in the community, and I'm excited to share more of what we're doing so we can all be out talking more about the foundation. I have a little presentation for you. I probably won't normally go into this much detail, but because I want to update you on what's been happening, I will go through some of these slides. We currently have about 16 board members. Malcolm DeCias is our president. Kyle is on the board as well. We have 2 new members. One of our big priorities moving forward is to improve our communications and working relationship, not just with the trustees, but also with Ron and with everyone at the college. Next slide. Thank you. So just a quick snapshot of some of our recent programs and accomplishments. We awarded 254 scholarships totaling $220,000. It was a pleasure to work closely with Valerie and financial aid to administer those. In response to COVID-19, we awarded 182 grants to students. So this was about $64,000. Which was good for us. I mean, obviously, compared to what the CARES Act was able to do, it was a drop in the bucket. But, you know, our donors stepped up quickly to do as much as they could. We also sponsored students to attend the National Student Advocacy Conference in Washington, D.C. This happened right before COVID hit, so they got lucky, which was great. And then we were able to fund book vouchers at the new student convocation event. So all of these programs, you know, are smaller things we can be doing, but our hopes are that as we raise capital, we can do more as needs arise. We can respond quickly and do as much as we can. So next slide, please. So one of our big efforts, and actually another really big priority, is to improve our advancement program, which is our overall fundraising program. It's kind of the core and nuts and bolts of what the foundation does. So we have kind of focused those initial efforts on our annual fund campaign, which I'm sure you've seen a little bit about. We are communicating more about the college and what we're doing and trying to share as many student stories as possible. We're focusing on donor acquisition, so getting new donors, and retention, so re-engaging a lot of people that have lapsed. And then upgrading donors, getting those that have given at smaller amounts to develop more of a long-term commitment and increase their gift. So we've been so far successful. It's been a big effort, and we've increased the total number of dollars raised about 42% up since last year. And in terms of total number of donors, we're about 48%. So we're gradually moving forward, and over time, we're hoping to see those levels increase. We also have 3 larger donors that gave in the last month. I just wanted to mention Warren Winiarski, who I know you're all familiar with, and Evelyn Allen. She's a lovely woman. She's 94. She went to Napa Valley College in the 40s and then went on to higher education and has her law degree. She's been a significant contributor and has a lot of potential there. And Susan Birchall is another contact with one of our board members. And then Ron and I have been working on contacting Dick Vermeil, who's been an ongoing supporter as well. So I hope you've seen a little bit of the foundation out there in college news, because we're really trying to put more stories out on our students. And we've been working closely with Holly and also with Carolee on communication efforts through the college. So next slide, please. So the Wine Education Center. I know everyone is probably wondering what is going on with the Wine Education Center. Obviously COVID and the fires, and we've had a transition in leadership. And so we've, stepped back and kind of looked at the campaign. We've done a lot of cleanup in the office and are moving forward. And we're really excited. This is something I'll be reporting regularly on to all of you. We hired a professional campaign consultant, Walter Collins. He's with Gonser Gerber, and he's been fantastic. We have a small staff, so he's definitely guiding us in this large endeavor. Ron has connected with Wine Spectator, and that has gone really well. They're excited that we reached out, and we'll continue to work with them as we move forward. We've had a couple meetings in the last couple weeks. We met with Senator Dodd, and we also met with Terrence Mulligan at the Community Foundation. We're looking into Prop 51 funding. It was placed on the November 2016 ballot, and it's funding for new construction and career technical education programs. And there's about $500 million that is in the pot that is available, about $3 million for new construction and $1.5 to remodel existing facilities. So Senator Dodd fully supports this project and helped connect us with contacts that can guide us in the application process. So in addition, we're working on revising our case for support and a campaign plan. So a big part of the case that perhaps was missing was the why of the campaign. Why is this important to the wine industry? Why is it important to our community? What's happening within these new larger buildings that make it impactful beyond the walls of the facilities? So we are holding several meetings, conducting a sort of a needs assessment, and really developing more meat into that case. So we're about 90% there with content and hope to have initial drafts starting soon. We're also starting prospecting and our major donor strategies, which will be engaging the board in and our committee, and hopefully all of you. So, next slide. So reach out to me anytime if you have questions. Love to get to know you and more about the college. So thank you. Oh, one more thing. I'm also a mom. And so, Charo, I do want to see your parenting videos, please.
Thanks, Jessica. I know that we're definitely committed to the foundation. It's always astonishing to me that the amount of work that goes into kind of these 501c3 groups that help to kind of bolster what we're able to do with public funds, but it's we couldn't do it without you. So thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Jessica's going to be a regular contributor under the president's report. And as she said, not so much, a long formal, but just an update every time. So I'm excited about that. And very excited for our Board of Trustees to join hands, maybe not literally right now, with the Board of Directors. At many colleges, it's very difficult in large groups to distinguish the trustees, the Board of Trustees, from the board on the foundation, because they act so similarly in the community. So that's one of the goals that we're working on as well. And you can be quite powerful advocates for the college, sometimes through the lens of the foundation. And so I'm excited that Jessica's large and in charge, and a full-time mom as well. So welcome, and we're looking forward to a great year.
Thank you. All right, so I think that concludes section 7, our reports. So we're moving on to 8, which is the consent calendar. Approval of the consent calendar. Do we have any public comment on any items on the consent calendar? Not hearing anything.
No public comment.
All right, then. Do we have a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
We
Iverson.
had a motion from Trustee Baldini and a second from Trustee Iverson. And so roll call. Do I need to acknowledge that Trustee DeLuna is absent?
I was going to note it in the minutes, her time of departure, so you don't have to list her in or call for her vote then.
Okay. Okay. So then we have Trustee Dodd
Yes.
and Trustee Goff.
Aye.
Trustee Iverson.
Aye.
Trustee Rios.
Aye.
Trustee Baldini.
Aye.
And Student Trustee Shull.
Aye.
And myself, Trustee Baker, aye. So we unanimously have passed the consent calendar. Moving on, there are no items in section 9 for academic affairs, so we can move on to section 10, administrative services. And we already did 10.1. So now we're looking at 10.2, which is our contract with DyneTech, which Bob's already told us all about, but if you have anything, do you want to add?
I do not, no.
Do we have any public comment on this item?
I see no public comment.
Okay. Do we have any questions from the board or comments? And if not, I will entertain a motion, please.
I will move approval.
That was from Trustee Rios. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Dodd.
Trustee Dodd, sorry. Trustee Goff, I think you beat you.
Whoever that was.
Not a big deal. I'm good.
All right. So, Trustee Dodd, what is your vote?
Yes.
And Trustee Goff?
Aye.
Trustee Iverson?
Aye.
Trustee Rios?
Aye.
Trustee Baldini?
Aye.
Student Trustee Shull?
Aye.
And myself is also aye. Looking forward to getting this work done. So it passes unanimously. And then we have, moving on to section 11, human resources. Do we have no items? Section 12, student affairs. We have no items. See, section 13, general information. Here we have the CCCT board nominations. This is just an information item. I think all of us are pretty familiar with it already. But if anybody has an interest, this is just, it's just an information item right now, but if someone is interested in serving, then we would nominate you next month. So if, unless somebody is just like chomping at the bit right now, you can contact me in between meetings if we have somebody who's interested, and we would be more than happy to support you if you are. So moving on then to 14, which is organizational items. This is where I get to, well, I've actually already been talking. Yes, funny. I was talking a little bit about just kind of my, my general approach to stuff. I'm very pragmatic, but I also want people to have opportunity to talk and come to consensus and have your questions answered. I am a terrible person when it comes to talking over people and interrupting. And so now that I'm in charge, I have to make certain that everybody talks. So my dad never tried to give me a gavel. Maybe that would have helped. We'll see. I'm going to be doing trustee appointments to committees first. So we've got the legislative affairs committees, and I've talked, I think, with everybody. And I would like to appoint to that Trustee Goff, who's been serving on it for a while. Trustee DeLuna has also expressed interest, and so I'm going to appoint her. And Trustee Dodd, you're going to shine up and follow in Dad's footsteps, maybe?
I know somebody there.
Oh, no.
And then
You're
also...
stuck with me, Trustee Goff.
What was that?
I said Trustee Goff stuck with me.
Oh, no. I don't know if I want a lawyer on the legislative committee. I don't know.
Well, you know, we won't give him a gavel.
Right. New perspective. Yeah, I'm happy to work with Trustee Dodd. That will be excellent. As long as
you guys will be a good group.
And
I know that even though she's not here, Trustee DeLuna has a lot of interest in this area. So I think that you will make a good team. And also our student trustee, William Scholl, has also expressed interest in serving on this. So I am happy to appoint him to this board. And then let's see, for audit and finance committee, I've been serving on that for a couple of years. I would like to stay on that. So I'm appointing myself. Also appointing Trustee Rios to that as well, unless he has any major objections. And then Trustee Dodd as well on the finance, audit and finance committee.
No objections for me. I'm happy to serve.
Thank you. And then for real property, I'm going to make a little bit of a change. I'm going to appoint myself to that one as well. And then we're going to have a Trustee Rios and Trustee Baldini to continue on those two, on that committee as well. And then we have the McPherson Award. I have a question first. I wanted to find out if it's okay to have two trustees serve on this. I'm assuming we would still only get like one vote or however it works, but to have, I'd like to have Trustee DeLuna serve on it just because I think it's a very good way to kind of get to know the school. And then Trustee Goff, I know she loves it, and I enjoyed my time on it as well. So I think it would be great if we could have both of them.
I spoke with Dr. Parker. I think you're on, Sarah. Maybe you might address this from some of your research.
Sure, I can read you the details from the award. It reads that eligible nominations are reviewed by a selection committee composed of the following individuals: the Vice President of Academic Affairs and one representative each from the NVC Foundation, Board of Trustees, Student Body, and Academic Senate.
Okay, so we do have to have just one. That's fine.
So Chair Baker, it's really up to you whether you'd like me to serve on that or whether you'd like to let our new trustees serve on that. Really up to you.
You know what? If we can wait, I would, since Trustee DeLuna's not here, I would like to talk to her just to be certain, because she, what her interest is. And if we could wait and put that one off till next month, that'd be my preference.
That's fine. I would just like to really continue working or start working with Vice President Parker on really looking at the application process. So even if I don't serve on that committee to determine the recipient, I would love to be involved in that process. If Ms. Parker, if you're open to that, that would be great.
I mean, we're eager to get things underway.
Great. Okay.
So we will revisit that next month.
Okay.
All right, so then appointing a trustee to the District Auxiliary Services Foundation, I'd like to appoint Trustee Iverson to that. And are you okay with that, Kyle? I see you reaching for your mute button.
I'm fine with it. Thank you. Happy to serve.
And I would like Trustee Baldini to continue on the Viticulture and Winery Technology Foundation, since he's only been on there for a couple of months. Want to keep the seat warm?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And then we're having Trustee Iverson continue as our representative to the Napa Valley College Foundation. I'm thinking that having Trustee Iverson serving on both that foundation and also on the DOS Foundation will kind of help us to delineate between the two and make certain that everybody's pulling in the same direction but staying in their lane.
Mm-hmm. I would add Trustee Baker on McPherson. Once you have the conversation, I think you could begin the work. I think Sarah's eager to begin. You could begin the work and then kind of back into
formalize. Okay.
Yeah, formalize it. Yeah, next month. So
thank you for that. All right. So do we need to do anything more with that, or are we good? All happy. Okay, then moving on to Section 15, which is Board Policy Review and Adoption. We have a first reading of Board Policy 4020 and 4029. If anybody has any questions or comments, we're not taking action. Yes.
I have a comment before we take action on, let's see, BP 4020. It sounds like there's an and missing. If you read it and you read the paragraph that is in red for the most part, to that end, the superintendent president shall rely primarily on the academic senate to establish procedures for the development and review of all curricular offerings, including their establishment, modification, and discontinuance in accordance with Title V, whatever, and Board Policy 20. No, it's good. I misread it. When I read it originally, I misread it. So no changes. Sorry.
Okay.
I thought it was missing.
Any other comments, questions? It's always good to have somebody look for
feedback
for that, especially an English teacher. All right. So if we have no comments or questions on that, we will move on then to board reports for standing committees. I don't know that anybody has had any meetings since our last meeting together. I know that we had the DOS meeting right before the last meeting. I don't know if did we have a meeting of the Viticulture and Winery Foundation?
No, that was back in November.
Okay. And Legislative Affairs Committee?
No, we will meet in February. That'll be scheduled. Holly Dawson's going to go ahead and move forward to schedule that. Holly, did you want to put your 2 cents in tonight? Or are you good?
Right. No, I think we're good. We wanted to wait until the appointments to the committee tonight, and then we'll schedule that meeting. And I'll be attending the Legislative Affairs Conference in 2 weeks as part of the CCLC. Thank you.
Yay, go Holly.
And Audit and Finance has not met. They're going to be meeting next month as well. February is going to be busy. Real Property, I think there was a meeting that was scheduled earlier this week but was canceled. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And I believe that Catherine's already started, reconnecting us on that. So, or Kathy Wright is, but we'll get there.
Great. And McPherson, ready to get off the ground, so we will hurry and get you a representative. And let's see, anything more from the Napa Valley College Foundation, Kyle?
I believe we met. There's been a lot of meetings, but I think everything that I would have covered was pretty much covered with Jessica. So thank you.
Alrighty. Do we have any items that anyone would like to add for future meetings? Any future agenda items?
Madam Chair, I didn't see the continuation. It was dropped off of December with no explanation. But the honorary degree, we've never had a report on that.
Okay, so we make certain that we get that back on the list.
Yes, I think it's still under discussion.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Michael, can you just tell us what degree you want?
Well, now that I heard you could test out, I may.
I'll let you share my crown. Let's see. I know that we've had a lot of discussion about the whole inclusivity and equity efforts that are going forward, and I've had a lot of interest from various board members who really want to find a good way to keep tabs on that work. So I'm just wanted to, we don't need to put it down here right now, but just wanted to let everybody know that that is something that I have been talking to Dr. Kraft about, and how we can find a way to formalize reports or some level of accountability that we can keep track of, and also not just for that, but also to make certain that the public's aware of what we're doing. So keep that on our radar. Anything else?
Sure, I'd love to. I don't think it needs to be part of the future agenda report, but for the president's report, Dr. Kraft would love to, and Bob, to have an update on the student housing, just to see how everything's going timeline-wise, and just making sure that we're staying on track. Just a quick check-in, depending on the circumstances, maybe longer in some months.
Great. We can include that under the president's report next time and bring you all up to speed.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? No. All right then. Trustee and board chair report. Let's see. Mr. Baldini, do you have anything to report?
Yes, I do. Thank you. One, I was on campus on Wednesday, and there was Bob at his office in front of his screen, and went over to see Dr. Kraft, and he was with Jessica. So walking around, the vineyard renewal is in progress, taking care of the older vines, landscaping along the Jeffries Tube, where the main corridor was. I noticed that was accomplished, that Mr. Parker alluded to in the December meeting. And in the past, I know this would be done not without consulting and our groundskeeping staff and landscaping and Christensen and so on and so forth. But we have had landscaping Saturdays where we've come in and done cleanup, and it's involved everybody from the ASNVC to classified to trustees, et cetera, et cetera. And so that might be something to re-engage in the springtime. If possible. The news about the Imola corridor being pushed forward, that might be a time to reach out to the Gasser Foundation about the bridge and so on and so forth, about the what Trustee Dodd mentioned about the housing project, et cetera, about getting that accomplished. In any event, the campus looked great, and thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Goff, do you have anything to report?
I have no report, except I'm exhausted because going back to school that first week.
The longest week. Oh my gosh.
It's the longest week, but I'm very thrilled to be back. And even now, I'm just so grateful. I see their little faces on Zoom. So I'm just happy to be back. So Happy New Year to everybody. I hope 2021 is much better than 2020. That's all.
And Trustee Dodd, do you have anything to report?
Nothing to report. Happy 2021.
Thank you. Trustee Rios, anything to report?
No report. More of a kind of a concern. If the rest of you read the information Dr. Kraft sent us on the Brown Act and social media, I'm a little concerned because I often like to, post things I see that are happening at the college. And now I'm a little concerned when I see them. I'm going, well, where did that come from? Did one of you post that and I'm reposting it? And then what if somebody else, one of you reposts that? Are we going to get in trouble? So I was a little concerned about how far this, the Brown Act might be reaching.
To that point, and I understand there's a little tongue in cheek here, but when we go to the CCLC, Holly that will be one of her tasks to bring back a little clarity on that.
Yeah, good.
I think it's more of what we had talked about. It's like, good idea, Michael, and then Beth says, "Yeah, I agree." Then we're in trouble, and
right.
That kind of.
Come on! If you know me, I'm not getting on social media.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to, but I hardly have time to do it, and it's part of my job description.
It's never going to be me.
Okay, so no commenting, but what about like the angry face? Are we allowed to make angry face?
Didn't have to comment to me.
Yeah.
Well, brave new world. Okay, so let's see Mr. Iverson, do you or does your small person have anything to report?
I do not have anything to report.
Okay, and student trustee Schultz, anything to report?
I do not have anything to report.
All right, I think that's everybody. I don't really have anything other than, of course, Happy New Year. It's been an interesting one, and we haven't even hardly got in. I don't even know what day it is, honestly. Is it 2? Are we in 2 weeks now? We're 2 weeks. 2 weeks in, and it's still been like, oh my gosh. And it's exhausting, I know. So it's been, and it doesn't show any signs of slowing down, but hopefully all of us have some light on the horizon or at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully it's not a wildfire or a train. So Happy New Year to everyone. I think we do not have anything to continue from closed session. And our announcement of our future meeting, our next meeting of the regular meeting of the board is the 11th of February. And I believe that makes it possible to adjourn at 6:57 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good night.
See you next month. If not before.
Good night.
Congratulations, Madam Chair.